Inside the Magic, show number 469 for April 1st, 2014. It is Tuesday, April 1st, 2014. This is show 469 of Inside the Magic, and as always, I am your host, Ricky Briganti, with a whole lot of fun from outside the world of Disney this week, over at Universal Orlando. New hotel to talk about, but some other Disney fun as well, especially from overseas. Before we get to all of that, I do invite you to visit our website at InsideTheMagic.net. There you'll find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news, articles, and plenty more. And if you ever have any news, tips, questions, comments, or anything that you want to send in, you can email me at ricky@InsideTheMagic.net, or you can call and leave a message at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486. And now, let's get on with the show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Magical Travel. Escape to your own carefree tropical getaway with Disney Cruise Line and save 20% off prevailing rates on select 3- and 4-night Bahamian cruises sailing from Port Canaveral. And you don't want to let this offer sail by, so call Magical Travel today at 866-207-8387 or visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote, and be sure to mention Inside the Magic when you do that to receive your free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And thanks very much to either Hubert or possibly Hubert Yamada and Jeffrey Wetmore for your donations this week, and also to all of our recurring donation subscribers and anybody offering any assistance with Inside the Magic. It all is very much appreciated. And now, let's get started with a trip around the world. So the big story is definitely overseas, coming from the world of Disney, specifically at the Tokyo Disney Resort, more specifically at Tokyo Disney Sea, and even more specifically than that, the Cape Cod section. A new character has made his character meet and greet debut. Very first time, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Visitors to Tokyo Disney Sea can now meet Oswald face-to-face in person. He has a farm in the park. It's a background of sort of muted colors, fits the kind of, the black and white-ish look of Oswald. Of course, he's wearing bright blue shorts, has a bright red tongue as well. Other than that, he's black and white. It looks a lot like how he appeared in the Epic Mickey video game series, actually. But it's Oswald. That's amazing. People have been asking to meet Oswald for a very long time now in Tokyo. We're the first to make that happen. Hopefully, Oswald will make his way over here to the United States at some point. Buena Vista Street would certainly be a perfect spot for him. He's got a gas station there and everything. So if you head over to InsideTheMagic.net, you can see photos of Oswald's debut at Tokyo Disney Sea, courtesy of Miyata Takeshi from dpost.jp. That's a Japanese Disney fan site. It's in Japanese, so you might have some difficulty navigating through there, which is why he was gracious enough to share the photos for our American audience. So definitely head over to our site to see Oswald in action there, and like I said, hopefully someday I'll have a chance to meet Oswald face to face. Now, let's talk about the upcoming event, Destination D Attraction Rewind from D23. New details were announced this week that has everybody very excited. The event will take place out here at Walt Disney World at Disney's Contemporary Resort November 22nd and 23rd, later this year. And a big announcement is that at the end of the event, it's all going to sort of be capped off with an evening that is called Pleasure Island Rewind. It's going to have areas dedicated to Comedy Warehouse, mannequins, 8 tracks. Yep, here it is. Adventurers Club, yes. For one night only, a version of the Adventurers Club will be returning. They're a little light on the specifics at this point, though the entertainment portion of the Adventurers Club certainly has a good chance of being there. Maybe a return of some of the old performers that were there, as well as potentially that Kungaloosh drink may make a return as well. So, in addition to all of that, they're going to end the night with the classic Pleasure Island New Year's Eve celebration. Should be pretty exciting for anyone who was a fan of Pleasure Island. Of course, not a whole lot has gone on with Pleasure Island since it closed several years ago, transitioning into Disney Springs very, very slowly. But in the meantime, there it is, a chance to sort of relive the glory days of those clubs. In addition, throughout the 2-day event, there will be many presentations. Some of the panelists have been announced, including Disney legends Marty Sklar, Bob Gurr, Alice Davis, as well as Walt Disney Archives director Becky Klein, Disney and World's Fair historians Bill Cotter, Stacia Martin, and Michael Kelly, and more will be announced down the line. In addition, Walt Disney Archives will have a special exhibit. Mickey's of Glendale, the shop from Walt Disney Imagineering, will be there selling some special merchandise. Tickets go on sale for all of this 2 weeks away, April 16th. Now, here's something important to note. At first, tickets will only be available to D23 Gold and Silver members, that is, those who have actually paid for a membership. Those tickets will be $190 each for the 2-day event, and it will be exclusively available to those paid D23 members through May 28th. Then, any remaining tickets will be made available to D23 free members at $250 per ticket. So if you want a guarantee that you're going to be able to go to this event, you might want to buy a D23 Silver membership, the less expensive one, and then buy the less expensive ticket on top of that. Kind of balances out, and you get that early chance. All of those tickets will include a gift representing Disney's contributions to the 1964 and 65 World's Fair in New York. Now, if you really want to go all out, there is one more ticket option available. It's called the Top of the World ticket. It'll be $1,000 each, including reserved seating for all the presentations, some early shopping opportunities, as well as a special evening event with a private viewing of the Carousel of Progress, maybe some special things going on with that, a dinner reception, and a viewing of the Electrical Water Pageant, as well as special collectibles and more gifts. So expensive, but you get a bunch of stuff for it. So I will certainly be there for Destination D Attraction Rewind. I'm really looking forward to it. I know Adventurers Club fans certainly are as well. There may be people who buy the ticket just to go to that portion of it, so we'll see. More details will be announced as those November dates get closer. An event that is coming up much sooner than that, a little over a month from now, Star Wars Weekends, and some Disney's Hollywood Studios, of course. Some new details have been announced with some new Star Wars dining options this year. At the Hollywood Studios Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater, there's going to be the Star Wars Dine-In Galactic Breakfast that will have scenes from Star Wars movies playing on the big screen there. Star Wars characters will be included, so this character breakfast will be $47.99 for adults and $29.99 for children. It's also going to be a dinner buffet experience at Hollywood and Vine in the park. Star Wars music will be playing. There'll be characters again, $55.99 for adults and $33.99 for children. Not inexpensive, but it'll be your first chance to dine with the Star Wars stars. That will begin May the 4th, naturally. Continuing through June 15th, those prices include a digital photograph. Characters that will be part of these experiences include Jedi Mickey, Princess Leia Minnie, Darth Goofy, and Stormtrooper Donald. Another upcoming event, of course, is the Rock Your Disney Side Party over Memorial Day weekend, another 24-hour event at the parks, and Disney has already made shirts for this event available on the Disney Store website. Naturally, it's not until several weeks from now, but if you want a shirt already commemorating the event that's a while away, you can head to the Disney Store website to get that. And speaking of spending money, Walt Disney World has once again raised the prices of theme park car parking, actually all parking, $17 per day per car. Now, it was $15, so a $2 increase. Likewise, it's now $18 a day for campers and RVs, or $21 for bus or tractor trailers. The previous price increase for parking was back in June of 2013, so less than a year ago. And if you are a fan of Cat Coras Cucina restaurant over on the boardwalk, well, you better get out there pretty soon, because it has been announced that that restaurant will be closing at the end of September. I don't believe I've actually gone back and eaten there since it opened. I really enjoyed it back when it opened, and I just haven't gotten around to going again, so I might have to make a point of it, because I did really enjoy the food, but I'm sure, whatever kept me from going there, the fact that it's at Boardwalk, where I don't go too often, whatever it was, it's probably why it's closing, because it seems, nobody else is necessarily going either, so, yeah. Now out at Disneyland, of course, Easter time is upon us. Still a couple of weeks away, but, Disney likes to celebrate things for a long period. So in Frontierland at the Big Thunder Ranch, they're doing the bunny hop again this year. And once again, Roger Rabbit is back, except this time he is meeting and greeting with guests. He's taking pictures. He's not signing autographs, I don't think, but he is taking pictures. So he didn't do that last year around Easter time, so that's pretty exciting. I had a chance to meet Roger for Mickey's Halloween party back in October, which was fantastic. It seems like he's coming out a little bit more often now, which is great. He should. So you can meet him there along with a bunch of other bunnies, rabbits, Disney rabbit characters. They're all there throughout this Easter season. Back out here to Orlando. This past weekend, I enjoyed my first Mardi Gras concert of the season. That's right, Universal Orlando's Mardi Gras is still going on, and it will be going on for another couple of months with a variety of concerts. And on Saturday night was Weezer, which is kind of a rarity for these theme park concert events. Normally, if it's going to be a rock band, it's going to be a rock band from like 40 years ago. And, not necessarily ones that I'm ever really thrilled about seeing. There are some contemporary acts, but they're usually other genres, so it was nice to see a band that is still relevant, still contemporary, still making music. They're in the studio now recording another album, and they were great. They played for about an hour and 15 minutes, so you can see photos from that performance, that concert, over on InsideTheMagic.net. I definitely enjoyed that show, and I hope that Universal and even Disney, for their Flower Power concert series and the Eat to the Beat concert series, I would really like to see more contemporary acts like that, and more alternative rock, that sort of thing is my personal taste in music from mid 90s into the 2000s and even to today. I don't think that genre has really entirely gone away, so it'd be nice to have a little bit more of that. Weezer's certainly still a very family friendly band, so it worked well for the event, and I quite enjoyed it. Speaking of Universal, but jumping back out to California, at Universal Studios Hollywood, the grand opening date for Despicable Me Minion Mayhem has been moved by one day to April 11th rather than the 10th. Now, Universal won't say this, but I have a feeling it has to do with the fact that April 10th is when Disney is celebrating the 50th anniversary of It's a Small World worldwide at the parks out there, parks here, parks overseas as well, and I'm sure Universal didn't want to overlap their celebration with Disney's, and obviously Disney wasn't going to move an anniversary celebration. So, April 11th is the official grand opening of Despicable Me Minion Mayhem out there. Of course, it's already open out here at Universal Orlando, and really it's kind of already open at Hollywood. It is in technical rehearsals, but that pretty much means it's open, although the nearby Super Silly Fun Land play area isn't quite finished yet. Close. Very close. Back out here to Central Florida at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Some new details have come out for Pantopia, which is opening up in about a month, along with the big Falcon's Fury drop tower in that area. But Pantopia is taking over for the Timbuktu area. And one of the items that Busch Gardens has announced for there that I'm pretty excited about is a restaurant devoted to pretzels. It's called Twisted Tails Pretzels, and it will be home to the signature food item of Pantopia. It'll be called the Bacon Pretzel Fury. And it's exactly what you think it is. It's bacon, and it's a pretzel, and it looks glorious. I can't wait to eat one pretty soon. Now, in the world of Disney Cruise Line, they have announced some upcoming itineraries for summer of 2015 in some northern European locales. For the first time, Disney Cruise Line is sailing to the Norwegian fjords. It's not too often I get to say fjords on this show. I feel like a Monty Python skit or something. Anyway, Iceland and the Faroe Islands are also being added to the itineraries. Bookings are already open for these adventures, so if you're interested, you want to hop on that ASAP. The Disney Magic is the ship that will be sailing around there, and you can see more specific information on the lengths and prices and all of that over on our website. Start of the world of movies, where I'm just briefly going to mention Captain America 2, Captain America the Winter Soldier right now. I have seen the movie. It doesn't come out for another few days, but I saw a preview of it, and it is fantastic. Very suspenseful. I'll have a full review of it coming up very soon, along with some extra features over on our website, so look for that. But yeah, when this movie comes out in a few days, go see it. It's excellent. And now, if you've been sort of hopping around Facebook or just kind of perusing Disney websites and movie websites over the last week or so, you may have seen a poster making its way around showing Tim Burton's version of Mary Poppins that looked like he was potentially remaking Mary Poppins in his own dark style. Well, it was a bit of an early April Fool's joke from the Popzilla Gallery in Southern California, right near Disneyland. They have an upcoming gallery in November called The Burton Show. It's a lot of artwork inspired by the works of the films of Tim Burton. That includes both Disney and not Disney. And yeah, so we played along with that a little bit over on Facebook. I could not believe how much that poster actually spread. It was like almost 750,000 people saw it when I put it up there. So yeah, anyone who believed it, sorry about that. It was indeed a little bit of an April Fool's joke, but the gallery is not. Should be pretty fun. You can find out more details over on our website. And in the world of video games, the Disney Infinity figure collection can now be complete with the release of the Phineas and Ferb Toy Box Pack. It had already been out for a couple of weeks, I think, at GameStop as an early release, but now it's available everywhere. It comes with Phineas and Agent P. There is no Ferb figure because really Ferb doesn't really do a whole lot. But Phineas and Agent P are there, along with a couple of power discs, and it completes the set for what is Disney Infinity. Now, what's to come in the future, we don't know. Disney Infinity 2, surely at some point, but they're not talking about that quite yet. So for now, you can get that. And here's a couple of fun things. Agent P's little adventure that he comes with. It's not a full playset, but he has a little adventure, and it's probably the most fun sort of mini adventure that's come with any of the figures of Disney Infinity. It's a little mini game, very retro, old school feel to it. It's got some overhead driving and shooting. It's got some side-scrolling platforming, some third-person dodging of things, some hang gliding sort of. It's actually really fun. It's a great little mini game. So that's nice that it comes with that. And if you have been collecting the figures all along and you get these new ones as well, and you unlock everything in the Hall of Heroes, you get the bonus of a lightsaber that any of your characters can then wield and duel around with in the game. Perhaps a preview of some Star Wars Disney Infinity to come in the future? Who knows? There have been rumors of that. There have been rumors of Marvel coming in the future, but we'll see. None of that's been announced. For now, Disney Infinity continues to be pretty popular. Certainly a lot of figures on the store shelves and selling well, so we'll just have to wait and see what the future of that holds. Also coming up in June is the Figment comic from Disney and Marvel, starring, of course, Figment from Journey into Imagination, as well as Dreamfinder. And just today, up on our website, we were given exclusive first look at 6 of the pages in kind of a rough black and white form that are in progress for the first issue of that Figment comic, drawn by artist Felipe Andrade. So definitely head over to our website if you want to see sort of a preview of what the art style of this Figment comic is going to look like. Looks great. Back to movies, Frozen has hit yet another milestone, and a big one, reaching the highest grossing animated film of all time. It has surpassed Toy Story 3, which was the former record holder. They're both topped $1 billion worldwide, but Frozen has done $1 billion plus. It's done even more. Frozen has also entered the top 10 biggest movies of all time. It's been in theaters since November 27th, and even though it seems like it's already on digital formats at home, it's on Blu-ray, it's got many ways you can have it, it's still doing well in theaters, and especially overseas. It has just hit the Japanese market, so it continues to do very, very well. Frozen is indeed, as if I need to say this, is very popular. Now, here's something, I don't know if I've actually mentioned this on the show, and I probably should have many, many times over. I may have it at some point. I have a former Imagineer and Orange County Register reporter Mark Eads. He is now writing for InsideTheMagic.net, and he has been for a few weeks now, and he's written some great articles for us, done some videos as well, covering the reopening of Big Thunder Mountain, the preview of Despicable Me Minion Mayhem out at Universal Hollywood, telling a lot of stories from his many, many years as a Walt Disney Imagineer. He has lots more stories to share, so if you haven't been on our website, of course, InsideTheMagic.net, and you haven't read any of his stories, you definitely need to just kind of scroll through, look for Mark's name on any of them, look for these Imagineer tales. I've got more coming up very soon. They are absolutely worth reading. Really fun, personal stories that you can hear from one of the people who helped to develop a lot of things at Epcot and Star Tours and many more things. Pretty fun. Definitely well worth reading on a regular basis. And lastly, of course, this is Tuesday once again. I've been very busy over the last few days. Last weekend was Megacon. It was a late show because of that. Very, very busy as well. Speaking of Megacon, I posted a huge wrap-up of everything Megacon over on our website. If you just want to see hundreds and hundreds and actually thousands of photos from the event, from cosplay and panels and exhibits and booths and artists and literally everything. Head over to the website to see all of that. But anyway, hopefully I'm going to get back on track on the Sunday schedule soon. I don't have anything major coming up over the next few weekends on Sundays, I don't think. So I'm definitely going to try to get back to that. But thanks for your patience and bearing with me on these a little bit later shows in the week. And that'll do it for your news from around the world this week. This week's tip or tips come in from Brandy from Houston, who writes, Ricky, after hearing your awesome review of the reimagined Disney Magic, we booked a February President's Day weekend trip on the Magic, and we very much enjoyed the ship. Our son loved the Kids Club, particularly the Oceaneer Lab. Personally, I loved Andy's room, and in honor of you, I attended the open house and went down the Slinky Dog slide, and just like you did, and yep, people stared. Who cares? I have 3 tips for the ship. Number 1, Castaway Cay is amazing. It is fun to visit on a smaller ship like the Magic. I asked the staff why it was so empty, and they said it is sized for the largest ship. So when you sail on the Magic, it's easy to grab a beachfront lounge chair and a hammock with no one around, easy to get food and do the activities, etc. Number 2, try the Aquadunk. It's super fun. If you're worried that it is too much, it isn't. If you're worried that the water is cold, it isn't. The water for the Aquadunk is warm and cozy. Try it especially at night. And number 3, bring a refillable cup with you, like the ones you get at Disney resorts aboard the ship, or buy one on board. The reason is at the pool area and the buffet area, they have small paper-type cups that they ask you to get a new one each time when you're filling up with soda. Not very environmentally friendly, and the cups are small. So if you bring a nice-sized reusable one, you can save some trash in a landfill and save yourself too many trips to the refill bar. Brandy, great tips there. I hadn't really thought about the fact that Castaway Cay is ready to accommodate the large ships, so then when a smaller one pulls up, you feel like you have the island to yourself. So that is a great tip there. I absolutely agree about the Aquadunk. I did it many times and loved it. I want to do it again. And good tip about the refillable cups too. I hadn't considered that. So everybody else, email your tips into tips@insidethemagic.net. And now I have some special music that I want to share with you. If you've been listening to Inside the Magic for quite a while, then you definitely know the name Tom Ameen. He is a talented musician and pianist who has been sharing his piano renditions of Disney songs with us for quite some time, many years now, and it's always a treat to share them with you. And I've got some extra special fun this week because Tom has just released a new album of great renditions of Disney songs. Once again, his album is called Magical Moments. You can find it in the iTunes store. Just search for Tom Ameen, search for Magical Moments, and you'll find songs that are just a wonderful variety of Disney music, like the Zorro, Let's Go Fly a Kite, Grim Grinning Ghost, the Universe of Energy theme, Veggie Veggie Fruit Fruit. It's a great assortment of Disney songs that you might not normally expect to see or hear, rather, in this style. So definitely go search for that. And I'm going to share one of these with you right now to debut and kick off Tom Ameen's new album, Magical Moments. Here is his rendition of Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me. Always so impressed by Tom's ability to take such familiar and classic Disney songs and give them that great new twist. So another great song. You definitely want to go find all of them in Tom Ameen's new album, Magical Moments. Search for it now in the iTunes store. Now I want to take you back in time to the 1960s and head over to Universal Orlando for their newly opened Cabana Bay Beach Resort. Now the entire hotel isn't open yet. This is just Phase 1. Phase 2 is opening in a couple of months, June 16th to be specific. But Phase 1 is fantastic. I had a chance to spend the day there yesterday, spent the night there last night, and I just loved almost everything about it. The feel, the look, I'm going to go through some of the details here about what I did enjoy and what you can expect if you want to stay here, which I do recommend that you do. But before I get into my thoughts about this new hotel, I want to share some thoughts of somebody who was in charge of creating this hotel. He's one of the men behind the design and the creation of the Cabana Bay Beach Resort at Universal Orlando, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Russ Dagan, and I am Vice President and Executive Project Director with Universal Creative.
Wonderful. We're here at the opening of the Cabana Bay Beach Resort at Universal Orlando. First of all, must be pretty exciting to see all the guests here having fun.
It's real exciting. There's plenty of days when you're sitting in design sessions in the middle of the night or working weekends where you just dream of this day and just you know you're doing it for that reason. So yeah, it's fantastic to have guests here and clearly enjoying the place.
So what is the highlight of this hotel, if you had to pick one? I mean, we're standing in front of this great pool. I've seen a lot of great things.
Always have to pick one. That's the whole favorite child question. There's different aspects. I'm going to cop out here and give you more than one. I do like the pools. The pools are very important to us, and they're a lot of fun. And there's, this is just a small sampling of what's yet to come. In addition to that, the Jack LaLanne Physical Fitness Studio. We had a lot of fun working with the LaLanne family, and really, really pleased with the way that turned out. And to do it for such an iconic figure is really cool.
Definitely. I mean, there's a lot of visual pop as you walk through, and I know we've talked about sort of the inspiration behind the look of this hotel before. Do you feel like you got there? Did you achieve what you set out to get?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's definitions of vintage versus retro.
Right.
I think we're almost vintage in some ways, that we tried to be as true to the period as we could, without offering modern or without overlaying too much with modern, unless it was really something that guests would appreciate. So like our in-room televisions, obviously flat screen TVs, the pool area, we're not going to do a dive tower, we're going to do a slide. And then hotels of this era wouldn't have had the grand resort pool. They would have had a much simpler, honestly, rectangular concrete pool.
Right.
We fell in love with that imagery, but we didn't think the guests would appreciate it as much as we did.
Yeah. 1 second here. Let me.
More noise, maybe?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, we're still good.
Okay.
All right. So why open the Cabana Bay Beach Resort in phases? What's the difference between phase 1, phase 2?
Well, phase 1, our first 600 rooms are our exterior corridor rooms. We originally designed it with this in mind, that we knew we could get this built quicker. We also knew that we would have the lobby ready to go, and to have it ready for a spring break is fantastic for us. So it was always designed with this in mind. And then the other rooms, the other 1,200 rooms, are coming online very quickly. By midsummer, we'll have all those up, and by mid-June. So we're in really great shape.
If you could define this hotel, say Cabana Bay Beach Resort is, what would you say?
It's amazing. It's amazing, and it's family. This is a hotel that you can experience, and I've said this time and time again. You experience it as a family. There's a bowling alley that's there for the entire family. The game room is there for the entire family. The food court. We didn't have separate niche restaurants that mom and dad are going to want to run off to. This is about a group moving together as a group and kind of playing as a group. You finish up at the theme parks and you come over here, and the fun doesn't have to stop.
One more question. What is this now bringing to Universal Orlando that was not here before?
It's our first moderate-priced hotel, and it's opening us up to a whole new segment. We've got, guests have been asking for this, and we're finally here with it, and we're ecstatic to have this product to offer.
So there's just a little bit about the Cabana Bay Beach Resort, but really the theme, the feel of it all, as Russ noted, vintage, retro, inspired by these beachfront hotels from the past, from Florida, from the New Jersey coastline, all the colors you would expect out of that era, oranges and blues and yellows and tans and, muted colors, sort of pastel-y muted colors. It looks great. What I really like about the Cabana Bay Beach Resort is the the finesse, the subtlety, the careful usage of the theme. It's not overrun by, you know, gaudy decorations. It's not overrun by characters. Certainly, it feels authentic, which is something that Universal is really doing a great job with lately. You know, a lot of comparisons have been made already, of course, to Disney's Pop Century Resort, going, you know, through the decades and the past and all of that. And there's really no comparison to make there other than just the basic premise. It's very, very different. You know, Pop Century's way over the top, huge sculptures and big in-your-face characters, and very, very Disney throughout. This hotel, it's not really Universal. I mean, it's at Universal Orlando. It's on site, walking distance from the parks, you know, about 10-15 minute walk, but it's not in-your-face Universal, other than maybe an occasional character appearance. Sometimes Gru and the Minions were there on opening day. I don't know if they'll always be there. And then if you walk through the store, there's certainly Universal merchandise there, but other than that, you don't really find Universal elements anywhere. They're really transporting you to another place, and more specifically, another time, which is great. I really felt like I stepped into the past while walking through, and I just loved every second of being there. It's got that 50s, 60s feel to it. The music that's playing is wonderful, old, you know, doo-wop tunes, and then you know, some surf rock, and then Chuck Berry, and you know, Elvis, and music like that is just permeating through everywhere you're walking around, which is fantastic. It really brings it together. Even as soon as you roll up in there. The entryway, the sort of when you drive up, it's just this wonderful view of the architecture of the style, and they had this row of vintage cars parked out front that are just always sitting there. They are authentic cars that you can go up to, even look inside and take pictures with, and just examine it. Really, when you take a picture of these areas, you don't even have to like put an Instagram filter on it. The colors are already so perfect that it looks like you just took a picture, but you took it like 40-50 years ago. It's really wonderful how they put it all together. Continuing into the lobby, things get a little more bright and vibrant in there, but still within that same color palette. Check-in's very easy. You just kind of go over to the big long desk and check in, and right there and then immediately, of course, there's seating available if you want to sit down. But right there's the first of several bars that are throughout the resort. Now, Universal, as Russ mentioned, is trying to make this hotel very family-oriented. They want everybody to do everything together, but of course, adults want to have their time as well. So right there is the Swizzle Lounge. It's actually, you know, it's not sort of a beachy bar as much as a lounge. It actually it kind of feels like a lounge that you would find on a cruise ship. It's just kind of off to the side against the wall, and you can order a variety of signature drinks there. I tried a few that they've offered, and some are quite strong, and others are more tasty. And you know, they're all about, you know, $9-10. They do offer they have a bowling alley, which I'll get to in a second. They offer one drink that's 32 ounces. It's called the 300 in honor of bowling. 32 ounces of just, you know, knock you on your butt kind of drinking. So I did not go for that one, certainly. That's a lot. But other than that, it's you know, pretty I think that one's like $22. But other than that, it's about, you know, $8, $9, $10 for a drink. And they're available all over the place. There are several bars to be found. But moving past that, of course, you want to get to your guest room. And now, as I said, this is just phase 1 of the Cabana Bay Beach Resort, and this side has family suites. So when we're talking about the price of staying here, it's a little bit difficult to get that nailed down, specifically because there are regular rooms that are coming up in phase 2 that will be less expensive than the family suites, which, you know, are bigger and cost a little bit more. So it depends on which style of room you're getting, whether you want to compare it to, say, a value or a moderate hotel. In the case of the family suites, once we move past the sort of introductory offers that are going on right now, you're looking at about maybe $120, $130, $140 range for a family suite, which is not too bad for what you get. The rooms are very comfortable, pretty spacious. You walk in, there's a kitchenette in front of you with a sink and a microwave and a counter and some stools there and room to move. Then there's a living room with a flat screen TV, which is one of the few sort of modern touches amidst this retro vintage feel. Furniture is pretty comfortable. You know, these vibrant orange and red colors with a lot of sort of aqua hues on the walls throughout there. So a nice sitting area there that I spent quite a lot of time working on, you know, posting photos and videos and everything from the hotel, which you can see extensive, lots and lots of photos and lots of video, complete video tour of everything over on the website and on our YouTube channel. So definitely go check that out. But so I spent a lot of time in there. Really enjoyed it, looking out the window, looking over the pool view there, and I'll certainly talk about the pool in a second. Quite enjoyed sitting sitting there. The couch does pull out as a sleeper sofa bed, so for you can sleep up to 6 in one of these family suites. Just beyond that is a nice sliding partition with sort of a hazy, not opaque screen that slides shut, so you can separate the two areas or have it all open, and that leads into the bedroom that has 2 queen beds that are pretty comfortable. The pillows are terrible. Bring your own pillows if you can. They're really, really bad. They're too big. They're they're just bad. So that would be one of the few complaints I have about that. But the bed is pretty comfortable. The sheets were brand new, so they made a lot of noise crunching around, but I'm sure as they get broken in, they won't do that anymore. But they were, no complaints about the bed itself other than the pillows. But in there's another flat screen TV. So, high definition and all of that, so you can enjoy there. There's a small closet off to the side, and then there's also a split bathroom area with the separate room to the left where the toilet is. Then straight ahead is a sink and a mirror and some counter space. And then on the right is another separate room that you can shut the door with the shower and another sink. So an opportunity for multiple people to be doing multiple things at the same time without getting in each other's way in the bathroom. And I must say, the shower, actually good. It's great to step into a shower that has a good shower head, good temperature, good pressure, multiple settings on the shower head, and then one of the really fun touches that they've added to keep with this retro theme is the soap that's included in the bathroom. There's a little Zest vintage labels on it, the bright green hued soap, and then the shampoo and conditioner are these vintage looking VO5 labels as well. So even the tiny little details in the hotel room really bring it all together and make you feel that you are not in the 2014, but rather back in the 50s and 60s, which is a lot of fun. Now, I mentioned the pool, and now there's going to be a lot more added to this hotel when the second phase opens, because the next phase is going to have a huge pool area with a lazy river. Now, that's not open yet. That's coming in June, but right now there still is a huge pool. It's in the Cabana Courtyard, as it's called, and this courtyard has a lot to enjoy. The Cabana Bay Phase 1 here is laid out with 3 buildings that are arranged in a square. 4 if you count the lobby building. So it's just a big square and then in the center of that courtyard is the pool. It's a 10,000 square foot zero entry pool, which means you can just waltz right in on one side without doing any steps. It kind of just eases in, and that's a more modern feature that they've added to a pool. They didn't want to have, as Russ said, the sort of rectangular pool from the past. They wanted to really give it some modern twists, but also keep that retro feel. So you can enjoy both of that. Pool is a great temperature. I went for a little swim. Wasn't cold, wasn't hot. It was just perfect. Very nice to swim around. Not too deep, not too shallow. It's certainly big enough to where you can actually swim. Do laps if you wanted, or just kind of lounge around in there. The big feature at the pool is this really huge. It's called the dive tower, but you don't dive off of it. It's not allowed. It's inspired by dive towers of the past, the multi-tiered dive towers from years and years ago. But instead, Universal's put a twist on that, and there's a waterfall, big waterfall coming off of it, so you can go underneath that while you're in the pool, and going through the bottom of it and sort of twisting around the area is a water slide. It's a pretty basic water slide, but for kids and even adults like me, it's still fun. The ride only lasts, maybe 10 seconds, but you go up. You don't have to do stairs, which is nice. It's actually a ramp to get up there, kind of a long winding ramp, so I enjoyed that. And once you're up there, you kind of just go on your way and go through a turn, another turn, and then you dump back in the pool. So pretty fun. Nice to have a water slide there. Also in the area, there's certainly cabanas. It is the Cabana Bay Beach Resort, of course. So the cabanas are available for rent if you want to have a little bit of a private area that you can enjoy. There are small patches of sand to really make you feel like you're at a beach amidst all the concrete. And of course, you're in the middle of like Kirkman and International Drive and Universal and all of that. But once you're inside there, you don't really feel like you're in that. Peeking up over the tops of the buildings, you might catch a glimpse of Dr. Doom's Fearfall or Dudley Do-Right, or even Hogwarts Castle if you're kind of on the outside of it. That's just outside the hotel. But once you're inside the grounds, you don't really see all of that, which is nice. It kind of takes you to another place. Now, walking around the area, and I wasn't sure if this was just for the opening or if they're going to be doing this every day, walking around the area throughout the Cabana Courtyard were these sort of retro girl characters all dolled up and mingling with everybody and just kind of dancing around. There's DJ playing music, and they were interacting with everybody very much in character, as if they were in the 60s. You know, at one point, one of the girls turned to me, and there was some, and this is something that's probably going to change in the future. The DJ was playing some modern music, and she turned to me and said, you know, what? I've never heard any music like this ever. And she said, somebody told me it's something called dubstep, which was just really funny. So I think the DJ is going to steer away from playing loud thumping music. When we first got there, it was like Miley Cyrus' Wrecking Ball was playing, which was not exactly what I was expecting, mixed in with classic songs from the 50s and 60s. So it was a really bizarre sort of combination there. So hopefully that will go away. But that aside, the whole area just definitely feels right for the period that they were trying to do it, when the right music was playing. Other pool areas, there's a hot tub. There's only one, unfortunately. I think there should be two because it got pretty crowded and the hotel wasn't even that crowded. So there's one hot tub. There's a beachy area that's an activity area. There's a beanbag toss in there. There's ping pong. There's pool tables. Room to move around. And it's nice to see all that sand in the area. There's a fire pit, which is wonderful to sit around, especially at night. A lot of sort of a round area with open seating. There's a bar in that area as well. Of course, it's a poolside bar. You can sit there and just, drink away and socialize and whatever. Now, I must say, there was one issue I had with this pool area, and this is another one of the few complaints. We were sitting around at 10 p.m., and all of a sudden the employees came up and said, everybody's out. Gotta go. We're closing this area. 10 p.m. Hard cutoff. Everybody out. I thought that was really surprising. It seemed really early. Now, later in the evening, it seemed like some people had trickled back into the area, even though you weren't necessarily supposed to be there. All the sprinklers had come on for all of the many trees and bushes that were there, and they were big sprinklers that were going well beyond the greenery and onto the concrete as well. So there's a lot of water flying everywhere, which is probably one of the reasons why they wanted everybody out. But you're not supposed to swim after 10. You're not supposed to do anything. There's no lifeguards. There's no music. There's no activity. They just want everybody to be quiet and go away. And I was like, well, what do you do after 10 p.m.? And the bar in the lobby is open till 11. The food court, which I'll talk about in a second, closes at 10. So you're kind of out of luck there. And then the bowling alley, I guess, is open till 11 as well. So you have a little bit of extra time. But other than that, their response was basically, well, you should go to City Walk. And of course, places there are open much later. And I hope that changes. I hope they leave things open at least till 11 around the pool. 10 o'clock just seems really early, especially if you're spending a lot of time in the parks and then you want to come back to the hotel and lounge around a bit before going to bed. If you've stayed all the way till the park closed, you're going to get back to the hotel and everything's going to already be closed there, which is no good. So, I mentioned the bowling alley a few times now. It is called Galaxy Bowl. It's 10 lanes. It's the second floor of the main Cabana Bay Beach Resort building. It's a little pricey. It's about $15 a person. For if you have a small group, you get an hour. If you have a larger group, you get an hour and a half. It's basically enough time to play one game, maybe two games if you are fast. But the bowling alley is nice. It continues the retro theme in there, certainly. It feels like a bowling alley from years ago, but it's brand new, and it's got, some of the new touches, the different colored lights changing and music videos playing, and so it's a nice mix of sort of the classic feel, but with some modern amenities as well. Definitely fun, pretty simple. It seems like it's really designed for resort guests to play there, so I can't imagine it's going to get overwhelmed with people. 10 lanes doesn't sound like a lot, but it was not full when I was playing there on opening day. So definitely some fun to be had there. Right next door to that is the hotel's video game arcade, which I was really surprised that it didn't have any vintage machines. There's no pinball machines in there. Instead, it is all like the top most modern high-definition game, like literally the stuff that just came out. It was stuff from IAPA in November. It seems like the buyers for the hotel went to that show and was like, yes, we'll take one of everything, because it's all the most recent arcade games that are in there, which was a little bit surprising. I would have liked to see the vintage flair continue through there for some older games, but no such luck. Also upstairs in the main Cabana Bay building, it's a really interesting and amusing gym. It is the Jack LaLanne Physical Fitness Studio. First ever to be inspired by Jack LaLanne, the fitness guru from decades ago. I had never actually even heard of him until this hotel, but now I certainly know who he is, because there's a big statue of him in there. His face is everywhere. There's memorabilia. There's like trophies and pictures and album covers and magazines, and just you can't go in there without figuring out who he is if you don't already know, and I'm sure a lot of you already do. fitness center looks actually really good. It's one of the nicer hotel gyms I've ever seen. Very open and spacious, a lot of room to spread out, lots of machines, some overlooking some really great views. You know, when you're running on the treadmill, big window there overlooking the pool, and a lot of, you know, variety of machines to work out with, and just a lot of room to spread out as well, which is nice. You're not right on top of you know, the next person who is working out nearby. So a nice fitness center for those who want to get into that on a vacation. Now that leaves the food court, which is the Bayliner Diner. And it's not really a diner. It is sort of a grab-and-go kind of food court with different stations. There's an international station that prepares, international food. There's burgers, there's sandwiches, there's pizza, there's pasta, there's some grab-and-go items, you know, in coolers, and, of course, little bags of chips and pretzels and that sort of thing. And it's a very odd mix of cuisines. They were trying to sort of get this under the theme of being inspired by some dishes of the past to some extent. So the ones that they really are talking up are the Swedish meatballs and the tuna casserole, because those are kind of those retro dishes. I'm not one for tuna, so I didn't try that, but I heard it was very good. For those of you who like tuna casserole, I had the Swedish meatballs though, and they were actually very good. Certainly better than the ones at IKEA. And you know, it was a lot of food. I couldn't even finish it. They gave me a lot of meatballs, a great creamy sauce on it. Came with some mashed potatoes and some broccoli, and even just the plain broccoli was good. And once you mix it in with the sauce and everything, and the meatballs, very dense, very hearty, great flavor to them. So I quite enjoyed it. My wife Michelle was with me. She had the Brazilian chimichurri beef, which somebody has pointed out that chimichurri is not really Brazilian so much as Argentinian, but whatever. It's there and it's good. It's for something that's coming out of a heat area, it's not like cooked to order, it's not on an open fire or anything. It actually tasted pretty fresh. Seemed like they were cranking it out pretty well. And it comes with some rice and beans. Pretty good for food. Pretty much everything that I had breakfast this morning there as well. Kind of your standard breakfast. There was pancakes, waffles, French toast. It's not a buffet. You have to order individual dishes from those same stations in this food court area. Made to order omelets, which is what I had. It was all quite enjoyable. The food doesn't look like it's going to be anything special, especially from looking at the food court. You think, oh, this is just kind of your standard hotel food court, but it's actually all very well prepared. One of the issues, though, of the area is the drink situation. There's two different types of ways of getting sodas in here. There's the regular fountain drinks, your standard array of Coke, Pepsi, etc., whatever. Coke products. But then there's also the Coke Freestyle machines, which have the, hundreds of flavors in there. But the catch is that if you buy just a regular paper cup for $3, you can only go to the regular soda fountain machines, not the Freestyle. And they're using these RFID chips, just like Disney is now, to where you can only refill it so often. You can only refill it in certain places, and so it knows, because when you put the cup down, if you have the regular paper cup, you put it on the Freestyle machine, it knows that you don't have the right cup, so you can't use the Freestyle machine. Now, you pay extra for the souvenir cup, which is also very confusing. Then you can use the Freestyle machine and use it unlimitedly with limits. So there's different tiers of the souvenir cup that you can buy. The cup is the same, but they program it using the chip that's built in, so you can buy one for that day for $9. So you can use it for the rest of the day until midnight. And you can visit any of the Freestyle machines around the resort, which is in the food court area. It's in the bowling alley. I'm pretty sure there's one somewhere else. And you can go and refill your cup as much as you want, as long as there's a 5-minute gap between refills, so you can't just constantly be filling it up. But that's in one day. Then you can buy a 2-day or a 3-day or a 4-day, and then you can buy a length of stay as well. But it's just so bizarre. So we didn't realize all of these options were there until we got to dinner, which was about 8 p.m. or so. And so we get there, and the options are, do we buy a regular drink or do we buy the refillable one? So we went with the refillable one, and then found it was only till midnight, not until the time we check out the next day. So we really only had about 4 hours to use this cup before it expired. It seems to me it would make more sense for it to be connected to the length of your one day. You check in at 3 p.m., you check out at 11 a.m. the next day. It should be for that length. And then if you want to add a second day, it should start again at 11 a.m. and then, there and so on and so on. But no, midnight is the cutoff, which it's kind of frustrating. I hope they change that a little bit. It seems like the options there are kind of weird. One more food option here, and this is a really cool one. Out by the pool area, there's a place for a food truck to park. There's only room for one food truck, so they're alternating out, and they are local Orlando food trucks. It's not like Disney's, downtown Disney food trucks where they invented their own trucks with their own food. These are Universal's actually bringing in real existing food trucks that are in the Orlando area, which is fantastic. On the first day, the Yum Yum cupcake truck was there, which I've had their cupcakes before many times. They're great. And then earlier today was the Tamale Company, which I had never heard of before. I talked to them. They're only about 3 months old, so a new truck. I had just eaten breakfast, so I didn't get a tamale from them, but I did see one, and it looked really good. So that's a really fun option to have sort of food trucks regularly there for an additional bit of enjoyment. Also in the main building, there is a store, as I mentioned earlier. It's got hotel-branded items. It's got some Jack LaLanne merchandise, which is interesting, and then kind of your usual assortment of the Universal Orlando stuff. Harry Potter and Despicable Me and Transformers and etc. etc. So, one more note here on Cabana Bay at night. Looks fantastic around the hotel. The signs for the buildings are lit up in neon, real neon, really evoking, continuing that vintage retro feel. A lot of really sort of soft orange hues throughout. It's pretty dim, but it's light enough to where you can see where you're going. But it's just a nice place to hang out, and I wish they didn't kick everybody out at 10 p.m. So, overall, you know what? I didn't even mention the food court where you sit down. They have these big screens that are playing these old film loops with dust and scratches and pops and all of that, and they're playing these old commercials and drive-in movie sort of let's go out to the lobby sort of things, and NBC commercials and Tupperware commercials, and it's really fun. It continues to tie in that theme, and that is really the key to all of the Cabana Bay Beach Resort. It all feels right. At no point, other than the DJ by the pool playing some modern music, other than that, at no point was I ever pulled out of this feeling of being in the 60s. It really sold it. Sure, there's like flat screen TVs in the rooms, there's amenities around the pool, zero entry, sort of things that didn't exist then, but you can look past those very easily and really have this wonderful feeling of being back in time and just staying amidst that. So if you were there, if you're old enough to remember that era and you want to relive any of that, this will do a great job of that. If you've never been there and maybe you watch Mad Men, or maybe you just like that aesthetic, it's a great hotel for any of that. I really can't wait to go back. I had a great time there, and I'm really looking forward to Phase 2 opening in mid-June. It will have a total of 1,800 rooms, 900 family suites, and 900 standard rooms. One downside to staying at this hotel versus the other Universal Orlando hotels is that Cabana Bay does not offer free express access to the rides like the other ones do. Of course, Cabana Bay is also a lot less expensive to stay there. Rates at the family suites are beginning at $174 per night, but can be as low as $134 per night, depending on your length of stay, time of the year, etc. The standard guest rooms can be as low as $93 per night. So it's not horribly expensive. The only obnoxious extra cost, other than that stupid drink thing that I mentioned earlier, is parking. All of the Lowe's hotels, and this one is run by Lowe's as well as the other ones on Universal property, all of the Lowe's hotels pay or charge you for parking your car. And it's because they don't want you to park there and then go over to the parks cheaper than parking in the parking garages, which is understandable. So if you're staying at the hotel, it's $10 per night to park a car there. If you're not staying there, however, if you just want to visit, if you're there for less than 30 minutes, it's $5. Over 30 minutes, up to 24 hours, you pay $20 to park. So if you just want to go and walk, look around, walk around, you're better off going and parking in the main parking garage for the theme parks and then walking over. It's a bit of a hike. There's boats available as well to take in the area. Eventually, the walk will be better once they build this overpass thingy that's coming in Phase 2. But for now, the walk is a little bit out of the way, but it's available, so it depends on what's worth it to you if you want to pay extra or not. But I really do recommend staying there. It's quite nice. I personally would prefer it over Pop Century if we have to make that comparison. It doesn't hit you over the face with the characters and the larger than life things. It's really quite subtle about its theme. Everything feels just right. So if you want to see lots and lots from the hotel, a complete video tour, a tour of the room. There was also a live band playing by the pool. So if you want to see performance from that, as well as lots and lots of photos of everything that I just talked about, head over to InsideTheMagic.net and check our YouTube channel to see it all from Universal Orlando's Cabana Bay Beach Resort.
Ricky.
Hi, Ricky. Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Ricky, this is amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Inside the Magic listener feedback.
Well, continue with a little of the mod vibe here with the old music as we got through just a little bit of listener feedback before wrapping this up. First up, an email from Abigail who writes, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of your videos and podcasts. Being from Canada, I'm formerly a cast member at Disney World, and it really helps me to feel connected to the world I love so much. I listened to your current podcast where a listener from the UK asked about using an ID for drinking at Epcot, and I can confirm that the only way she will be able to do it is to use her passport. There is a rule that Disney has recently taken a harder stance on. I know in some places like the Boardwalk they will accept photocopies, but I recommend just bring your passport with you just in case. Continuing on that thought, Brian also writes in and says, 2 years ago while I was still living in Canada, I was denied a beer at Disney California Adventure because of a foreign license. I was about to get my friend to buy me a beer when the manager came over to apologize. She said it was a new federal law that foreign driver's licenses are not acceptable forms of ID. I had my passport on me for the rest of the trip, and my vacation to the parks, whenever they asked for my ID, I would always show them my driver's license, and no one ever else complained about it being not valid. So, seems like you might be able to, thanks Abigail and Brian for those emails, it seems like you might be able to get away with a foreign license, but a passport is definitely your better bet to really make sure that you will get what you need when you're drinking around. And now let's go to a voice message.
Hi, I'm Sammy Favre, and I was just wondering, is there ever going to be an app for Inside the Magic? Because for Disney fans like myself, I like to have it all on my phone where I can just go to one quick place and check everything out. So if you could just let me know. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that call. Good question. It is something I've definitely thought about in the past because, I mean, Inside the Magic is all over the place. You got their website, YouTube channel, Twitter, Facebook. I'm sure there's something else, RSS feeds and the podcast, of course. It would be easy if it was all in one place. Unfortunately, it's not. I have tried to put together an app in the past a couple of times over. In fact, there may be an app floating around out there somewhere. I never quite got it all together. So, in short, yeah, hopefully someday, we'll get an app together. But for now, you're just going to have to kind of check all the different places to stay on top of it all. Next email comes in from Craig, who writes, my family and I recently found out that our trip is going to, Disney trip is going to coincide with Star Wars weekends. Even better, we will also be there the weekend Mark Hamill is scheduled to appear, although I'm sure they'll only make the already crowded park even more packed. My dad and I are only moderate Star Wars fans, and we'll be dragging my mom and sister with us, so we don't plan on waiting in obscenely long lines for something like Mark Hamill's autograph. Do you have any general tips or must-do events for us moderate Star Wars fans? Well, Craig, you definitely are right about the autograph line. If you did want to meet Mark Hamill, presumably, if they're doing the autographs as the same in the past, you're probably going to have to get there really, really early in the morning and get a wristband and all that sort of thing. Other than that, you can see a lot of Star Wars weekends without dealing with any of that madness. There's certainly some shows out in the streets. It sounds like they're mixing things up a little bit this year, but there's shows out in the streets that you can kind of just casually walk up and see. There's the celebrity motorcade where the celebrities arrive early in the morning, sort of for their first appearance of the day up on the big stage, so you can see them go by. They go up on the stage and then they go out on the cars as well. Great opportunity for photos. Other characters are involved with that as well, and all you have to do is really take a spot alongside the main streets there, around the entrance of Hollywood Studios, and you'll be able to see that. Then in the back of the park, in the big theater, is where they hold a lot of their great big presentations, and Mark Hamill will definitely be part of one of their talk show type segments in there. You probably will have to line up a little bit early, maybe, maybe an hour early. in order to get in there. I have a feeling Mark Hamill will probably pack the house, though there's usually, a few straggling seats here and there, near the end, so you might be able to walk up. But I would recommend getting in line early if you definitely want to see that. But there's lots of characters doing autographs and meet and greets all around the park as well. And then some sort of special, there's going to be the fireworks at the end of the day, as well as some sort of a special character gathering that they haven't really said what that's going to be. So, throughout the day, you'll definitely encounter a lot of Star Wars, and you will have to get in line a little bit if you want to get into some of the better presentations. All right, one more email, and then we will wrap this up. It comes in from Jessica, who writes, I was disappointed that there wasn't a commentary for Frozen on the Blu-ray or DVD, but I found a podcast that's like the next best thing. Director Jennifer Lee is on the podcast for about a good 90 minutes, talking from a scriptwriter's point of view of how they came up with the story. I'm not sure if you've already covered this, but I thought it was worthwhile on listening on how they evolved the characters. And she sent me a link to that, and it's at johnaugust.com/2014/Frozen with Jennifer Lee, and just put dashes between those words. So interesting there. Good to hear that she has spoken at length about the film, and it is disappointing that there's no commentary, but that sounds like a good alternative. And that will do it for listener feedback this week. And we've reached the end of show 469, and a lot of fun to be had this week, certainly mostly from the Cabana Bay Beach Resort at Universal Orlando. Great time there. You can definitely head over to the website and see a lot more from that, photos and video and a full write-up and everything. And as I said earlier, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the rest of it when it opens in mid-June. Also, don't forget to check out Tom Ameen's new album, Magical Moments. Search iTunes for that because his music is always wonderful, and I've appreciated him sharing all of it with us over the years. It has been great to continue to share that here, and I'm sure there'll be much more to come. He's always got such great renditions of Disney songs, and this new album, Magical Moments, is no exception. So search for that on iTunes now. And, of course, I do want to thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's episode of Inside the Magic. You can find out more about their services by visiting magicaltravel.com. And between episodes of this show, please do visit InsideTheMagic.net. It is your source for Disney and theme park news, all of our show notes and links and background music listings for the podcast, but also all of our videos and photos and news and articles and links to find us on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. And I should put another plug here for the news section of the website, Outside the Magic. Now, this is definitely for you adults out there, but if you go to OutsideTheMagic.com or InsideTheMagic.net/outside, you can see a lot of the other stuff, the other side of things that aren't necessarily part of the Disney universe, aren't necessarily appropriate for all ages, or just kind of bizarre things that may be appropriate and just are worth sharing, but don't really fall under the usual areas of coverage that I've done over the years. So, expanding further to cover more things. So check that out. You might have fun with it. So thanks to all of you for listening each and every week, and have a magical week. Bye.
At the end of every day, there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Just a dream of